Hi, my dear students, welcome to the model reading class. So, today we are going to see the model reading of the Unit 1, A Tiger in the House, which is written by none other than Ruskin Bond. Okay, a pre reading activity, listening and speaking. Listen to what your teacher says and then answer the question she asks you. Look at the picture. A forest guard is holding a pair of cheetah cubs in his hand. Poor things, they were abandoned by their mother. Why did she do that? We don't know. But what will this man do with them? He will take them to his officer, who will send them to a veterinarian for a checkup. The doctor will tell their age and the state of their health. Perhaps he will also tell them whether they are cheetahs or leopards. Do you know that in olden days people trained cheetahs to hunt deer? But what happened to these poor cubs now? What will the forest department do in a case like this? Ask your teacher about these things. Be reading. Read the story at home first and then in the class follow the teacher's model reading. Keep reading it at home again and again. First paragraph, Timothy the tiger cub was discovered by grandfather on an hunting expedition in the Terai jungle near the Hera. At first, the tiger cub, who was named Timothy by grandfather, was brought up entirely on milk given to him in a feeding bottle by our cook Mahmud. But the milk proved too rich for him, and he was put on a diet of raw mutton and a cod liver oil, to be followed later by a more tempting diet of pigeon and rabbits. Timothy was provided with two companions, Tuto the monkey, who was bold enough to pull the young tiger by the tail and then climb up the curtains if Timothy lost his temper, and a small mongrel puppy found on the road by grandfather. Third paragraph. At first, Timothy appeared to be quite afraid of the puppy and darted back with a spring if it came too near. He would make absurd dashes at it with his large forepaws and then retreat to a ridiculously safe distance. Finally, he allowed the puppy to crawl on his back and rest there. One of Timothy's favorite amusements was to stalk anyone who would play with him. And so, when I came to live with grandfather, I became one of the tiger's favorites. With a crafty look in his glittering eyes and his body crouching, he would creep closer and closer to me, suddenly making a dashes for my feet, rolling over on his back and kicking with delight and pretending to bite my ankles. Fifth paragraph. He was by this time the size of a full grown retriever, and when I took him out for walks, people on the road would give us a wide berth when he when he pulled hard on his chain. I had difficulty in keeping up with him. His favorite place in the house was a drawing room, and he would make himself comfortable on the long sofa, reclining there with great dignity and snarling at anybody who tried to get him off. Sixth paragraph. Timothy had clean habits and would scrub his face with his paws exactly like a cat. He slept at night in the cook's quarters and was always delighted at being let out by him in the morning. One of these days, declared grandmother in her prophetic manner, we are going to find Timothy sitting on Mahmud's bed, and no sign of the cook except his clothes and shoes. Of course, it never came to that, but when Timothy was about 6 months old, a change came over him. He grew steadily less friendly. When out for a walk with me, he would try to steal away to stalk a cat or someone's pet peckenies. Sometimes at night he would hear frenzied cackling from the pottery house, and in the morning there would be feathers lying all over the veranda. Timothy had to be chained up more often, and finally, when he began to stalk Mahmud about the house with what looked like villainous intent, grandfather decided it was time to transfer him to a zoo. Ninth paragraph. The nearest zoo was at Lucknow, 200 miles away. Reserving a first class compartment for himself and Timothy, no one would share a compartment with them. Grandfather took him to Lucknow, where the zoo authorities were only too glad to receive as a gift a well fed and fairly civilized tiger. 10th paragraph. About 6 months later, when my grandparents were visiting relatives in Lucknow, grandfather took the opportunity of calling at the zoo to see how Timothy was getting on. I was not there to accompany him, but I heard all about it when he returned to Dehra. Arriving at the zoo, grandfather made straight for the particular cage in which Timothy had been interned. The tiger was there, crouched in a corner, full grown and with a magnificent striped coat. 12th paragraph. The tiger approached the bars and allowed grandfather to put both hands around his head. Grandfather stroked the tiger's forehead and tickled his ear, and whenever he growled, smacked him across the mouth, which was his old way of keeping him quiet. 13th para. He licked grandfather's hand and only sprang away when a leopard in the next cage snarled at him. Grandfather shooed the leopard away, and the tiger returned to lick his hands. But every now and then the leopard would rush at the bars and the tiger would slink back to his corner. A number of people had gathered to watch the reunion when a keeper pushed his way through the crowd and asked grandfather what he was doing. I am talking to Timothy, said grandfather. Weren't you here when I gave him to the zoo 6 months ago? I haven't been here very long, said the surprised keeper. Please continue your conversation. But I have never been able to touch himself. He is always very bad tempered. Why don't you put him somewhere else? Suggested grandfather. That leopard keeps frightening him. I will go and see the superintendent about it. 15th paragraph. Grandfather went in search of the superintendent of the zoo but found that he had gone home early. And so, after wandering about the zoo for a little while, he returned to Timothy's cage to say goodbye. It was beginning to get dark. 16th paragraph. He had been stroking and slapping Timothy's for about 5 minutes when he found another keeper observing him with some alarm. Grandfather recognized him as the keeper who had been there when Timothy had first come to the zoo. You remember me? Said grandfather. Now why don't you transfer Timothy to another cage, away from this stupid leopard? But sir, stammered the keeper, it is not your tiger. I know, said grandfather testily. I realized he is no longer mine, but you might at least take a suggestion or two from me. I remember your tiger very well, said the keeper. He died 2 months ago. Died? Exclaimed grandfather. Yes, sir, of pneumonia. This tiger was trapped in the hills only last month and he is very dangerous. 17th paragraph. Grandfather could think of nothing to say. The tiger was still licking his arm with increasing relish. Grandfather took what seemed to him an age to withdraw his hand from the cage. With his face near to the tiger's, he mumbled, "Good night, Timothy," and giving the keeper a scornful look, walked briskly out of the zoo. Now let's come to new words. Abundant, left completely and forever. Veterinarian, doctor trained to treat sick animals. Expedition, journey for a certain purpose. Tempting, attracting. Mongrel, dog whose parents were of different breeds. Spring, move quickly, jump. Ridiculously, funny, absurd. Absurd dashes, a sudden quick run that looked funny. Amusement, something that Timothy enjoyed doing. Crafty look, cleverly deceitful look. Retriever, middle-sized hunting dog, gave a wide breath, stayed at a safe distance. Prophetic manner, manner of saying things in advance. Friend side, here extremely disturbed. Stalk, follow quietly as if hunting had been in turn, having been put under restriction. Snarled, showed the teeth, and made a deep, angry noise in the throat. Alarm, fear, testily, impatiently, realized, understood, and believed, increasing relish, more and more licking, mournful look of disrespect.